Dear students, I would like to briefly discuss persuasion and focus particularly on the three persuasive appeals. The three persuasive appeals are ethos, which is credibility, logos, which is argument, and pathos, which is emotion. For ethos or credibility, that means in your writing, are you writing in such a way that you are credible? Are you using facts? Are you being objective? Okay, those are two ways in which you can show your credibility. Also, another way to show your credibility, do you have a limited amount of errors or typos, or no typos? This also leads to your credibility. For logos or arguments, that means do you present not only the information objectively, but do you also present both sides of the arguments? And pathos is emotion. And do you use emotion, but you are not manipulative? So remember that you don't want to manipulate. If you manipulate, you are being shrewd. But if you are being persuasive, you are convincing your reader through the words that you use and the evidence that you provide. For pathos, a huge part of pathos is psychological description. And that entails using your five senses. So that means that you write in such a way that the reader can visualize what you are writing about. Okay, so can hear what you are writing, can see, can smell, can touch, can taste. And really, when you think of emotional appeal using psychological descriptors or psychological description, you think in terms of marketing or advertising. A classic example of advertising and psychological description would be, let's say that, and this only works if you are a meat eater, if you like beef, but let's say that you're watching television and you see a picture of a Big Mac, and the Big Mac encompasses the entire screen and it's moving, rotating very slowly so that you can see each level, each layer of the Big Mac. So you can see the cheese gooing out of the Big Mac, and you can see the special sauce oozing out as well, and the lettuce, and everything looks picture perfect, even though it's oozing and gooey. Everything still is picture perfect, so you know that if you buy a Big Mac, it's not going to look that way, but using psychological description, everything is perfect, so you can see it, yes, but you can actually smell it as well, because that picture is just so vivid. You can taste it, you can touch it. So that is psychological description. Now you may say, well, that's being rather manipulative, and you could have an argument there, because many times advertisements kind of go beyond convincing and really are more shrewd and can be manipulative. So again, you have to be very careful when you use emotion and psychological description. Remember that for your persuasive message, you want to make sure that you are courteous, that you use, again, an objective tone, and let me remind you that being objective means that you're being neutral. If you are subjective, that means that you are using your opinion. And of course, for business writing or any type of formal writing, you want to be objective. Make sure that you provide details for your audience. Going back to reader benefits, remember reader benefits and you attitude, where you wanted to put yourself in the reader's shoes? Well, the same applies here for persuasion. You want to make sure that you think and anticipate questions that your audience will have and make sure that you answer those questions. Also, you want to anticipate any counter arguments that your audience will have and make sure that you rebut against those arguments. So that in turn means that you are building your case. Now remember, for your proposal, you are using persuasion. So when you put together your proposal, you want to make sure that you cite specific observations or cite specific information. You don't want to leave the door open as far as you're kind of being wishy-washy, not really explaining what needs to be done. You want to make sure then that you include specific suggestions for improvement. Think in terms of implementation. So how do you propose to implement the change that you want to put forth? For your proposal, you may find it beneficial to include the budget or the price of whatever the cost of whatever it is you are proposing. So make sure then that if you do that, you want to link the price to the product's benefit, link the price to the benefits of the company, show how much the product costs each day, week, or month. So in other words, you want to have some type of budget outline. So don't just give the cost. Make sure that you have how much it's going to cost over a specific period of time. And when you present the information that way, then you're presenting it in installments. So in other words, the cost does not have to come in one lump sum. It's possible to spread the cost over time. Since the topic for your proposal has to do with charity and fundraising, make sure that you link the gift to what it will buy, offer a premium for giving, and ask for a monthly pledge. Now, please keep in mind that this depends on the topic that you've chosen. So not for all of you, you won't necessarily have to approach it this way. But for some of you, again, based on the topic, this is perhaps a method that you can use. So to recap some of the major points that you want to take away from Chapter 12, you want to make sure that you answer the 4 questions in addition to the others that I gave you, but definitely these 4 questions as you put together your proposal and as you're thinking about it. What do you want people to do? What objections will your audience have? How strong is your case? What kind of persuasion is best for the organization or the culture? And the culture really refers to the corporate culture. Remember that the 3 aspects of persuasion, the 3 persuasive appeals, you have your argument, your credibility, and your emotional appeal. And what are the Greek terms for those? Remember that for argument is logos. For credibility, it is ethos. And for emotion is pathos. For credibility, you want to make sure that you show your expertise, image, and relationships. Building credibility, be factual, be specific, and be reliable. Okay, and let me go back to that. Alright, so those are the 3 things that you want to make sure that you think about when you put together your proposal. You want to be credible, definitely. You want to make sure you build a good argument. And actually, for your proposal, I would say that to be on the safe side, just focus on your ethos and your logos. And think of really your pathos as kind of the last category, and something that you really don't have to include. Because again, you want to make sure that you use it effectively, emotion effectively. If you can't use it effectively, don't use it at all. Of course, if you have any questions, you can contact me. Now is the time to begin putting together your proposal. Believe it or not, this is week 3. Time is really flying by, and you want to make sure that you do a good job on the proposal. Since this is only a 6-week class, again, we're cramming a lot of information into 6 weeks. So it really is your responsibility to do a good job. Take the time necessary to do a good job. Don't wait until the last minute, because you know what happens when you wait until the last minute. you won't do an effective job. So this is my persuasive speech to you to get started now. Have fun putting it together.